Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Had to de-ice the
fun.
plane, so, you know.
Oh,
I sent it to
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll check it later.
you. Okay, that'll be fun.
If I get on there now,
Right at like.
watch the whole thing before we get started.
Cute little family for Christmas.
We did a Christmas tree. We get a live tree. Because my husband wants the smell of it, and every year I lose this fight. And it's like the only things I concede on to get him into the Christmas spirit. But I'm like, let's just get out.
Did he grow up with a live tree?
We grew up with no tree. Yeah. So I'm like,
You have no excuse.
funny. We have a fake tree, and it just lives in the basement. We could just use that.
Yeah.
And everything thinks so. So he drags us out in this cold. And Dad is like, I don't want to touch any tree. You know?
Do you actually like go cut it down or just go to like a tree?
We go to a tree.
Okay, good.
No, it's like everybody that I hear about that they go up to the mountain, they cut a tree down. They always get like bugs in their house.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we did that for probably 3 or 4 years. I stopped doing it because everybody was so mean to each other.
Oh,
Because they were cold and the snow was thick and it was hard to hold it back. And I'm just like, this.
Where do I look? What's, do I look this way? Tell me.
Thank you.
Oh, I think this.
Oh, there I go. I can see it right there. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure
That thing catch.
whatever we were, so did you guys catch that? It's gonna catch all of us from this.
Yeah.
Emily, from here, I guess. Okay. All right. So good morning. This is the USB Standards and Assessment Committee meeting. My name is Jenny Earl. I'm the chair of the committee, and I represent District 1, which is Northern Utah. And Joanne, we'll let you go second.
My name's Joanne Brinton. I represent District 15, and I am zooming in from Southern Utah this morning.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm Sarah Real. I represent District 5.
Leanne Wood, I represent District 4.
Emily Green. I represent District 14.
Hey, thank you. We're excited to be here today. We had a lot of great work over the last month, and we have a number of great items on the agenda today, of course. So we have no public comment as of right now, right? So we will go ahead and go to our first agenda item, our action item, which is R277609, Standards for LEA Discipline Policy. And we're going to go ahead and turn the time over to Jennifer Wadsworth. And it looks like we have maybe two other staff members in here. You can go ahead and come to the table. And then if we have questions. Okay, go ahead.
Great. Okay, so we are going to start with R277609, This is just a amendment to the definitions. The definition change was proposed or passed in the November General Board meeting for accountability practices. So we needed to update that in this rule.
Okay. Board members, are there any questions or comments?
Let me bring this up. I have an amendment I would like to bring forward.
Okay.
And let's see, I did email that. And let me just bring this up. Okay, so this is just in regards to the definitions with what caught my interest was R277609-2 1B, which is kind of the major change that we're addressing. So it shows practices may include behavior plans, restorative practices, and strategies to increase engagement. I was just trying to maybe clarify a little bit more of what we were asking. I did some research and I put together the following that I would like to move. That we add these 3 bullet points. Do you want me to read those all out?
Yeah, read it out.
Okay. So we're going to add an E, F, and G. So establish, teach, and reinforce clear, consistent classroom routines and expectations for behavior and academic engagement. F, organize and maintain a safe, accessible, and effective physical learning environment that supports instruction and minimizes unnecessary disruption. D, use effective classroom systems and instructional time management practices, including smooth transitions and positive evidence-based interventions to promote student engagement, accountability, and self-regulation. And I did this to address just feedback that we're getting from the field. There's just kind of a dynamic shift with students and classroom management. There's been a lot of changes within those structures in the last 8 years specifically. And what I'm hearing is that teachers they want support in being able to manage those classrooms. And I wanted to just maybe expand it a little bit more to bring back the ability for a teacher to proactively manage their classrooms and also bring in a level of accountability to students as well. And I just thought by listing out again, expanding that a little bit would help address those and be beneficial. So.
Okay, let me make sure I understand where your recommendations are under E or 2. Is that classroom management? Am I looking sorry, let me make sure I'm in the right spot.
2.
So it would be under 2, would be putting those 3 items underneath classroom management provisions, right?
Yes, I'm so sorry. That is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's under the right.
Yes, in my notes here, I have the first one second and second first. So yes, this one will jump ahead to that one. That one is going to be under the classroom management. So yes, we have an A, B, C, D currently. I would like to add the E,
Okay.
G.
Can I just go ahead and read those off in order so that I mean, maybe
Yes.
the public hasn't. Okay, so it would be under classroom management means the use of planned strategies that establish an organized and successful learning environment, promote academic excellence, teach behavioral, social, and emotional skills to all students, and prevent a pattern of behavior that interferes substantially and materially with the instruction of other students in the classroom. The suggestion is to add also establish, teach, and reinforce clear, consistent classroom routines and expectations for behavior and academic engagement. F, organize and maintain a safe, accessible, and effective physical learning environment that supports instruction and minimizes unnecessary disruption. And G, use effective classroom systems and instructional time management practices, including smooth transitions and positive evidence-based interventions to promote student engagement, accountability, and self-regulation. Okay, is that?
Yes.
What lines are those in the
So those would be inserted after.
37? Okay.
Yeah, yep.
So
When I ask Chris Ann, does this, would you, first of all, when you respond, will you introduce yourself in here? It seems that those, to me, at least align with what we've already included within the LRBI manual.
yes,
Does that? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm Chrisanne Lowe's. I'm the Student Services Coordinator, and I would agree with that. I think it aligns to the direction that we've been going already.
okay. Okay, Sarah, did you?
Can I have a question? So we wouldn't have to make any significant, we wouldn't have to go back to LRBI and
Um, I don't believe so. As I'm looking through this, then we already have information in the LRBI that includes the disruption piece, the classroom management piece. And also in chapter 4, we have that letter G that includes the classroom systems and time management practices. The wording isn't exactly the same, but I believe that it's
The intent is-
and the intent is the
Okay.
same.
that would be my concern if we had to recycle, because that's why we're back here, right? We're back here because we changed the definition here.
Because remember, that was the same issue we had.
Can you have a staff member check or someone check to see if classroom management is defined or if it's broadly referenced in the LRBI manual?
Yes,
And if it's going to take a minute, we can come back to this agenda item and then, do you know what I'm saying? So that
yes,
we're not putting you on the spot real quick.
for a definition.
I'm just making sure if we actually took the definition and said classroom management is, then that would, do you know what I mean? That may create a little bit of would end up having to do the whole LRBI.
I don't want to do that.
Right, so that's what I'm saying though, can we see if it's broadly used? Does that make sense?
Yes, I think if I'm understanding what you're asking, yes. I believe I'm pulling it up right now, and I have a staff member who's texted me
Okay,
that it closely aligns. So I'm just going to double
Yeah.
check for you really quick.
just so that we don't end up competing definitions. So should we, let's sit on that, is that okay? And then, you had another recommendation?
And this one is under accountability practice.
And what line is that?
That's line 25. So we're at RT 77609-2, definitions 1A and B. And what I'm doing is addressing B. So, and what I've put forward, accountability practices may include: 1, instructional strategies that increase active student participation and reduce off-task behavior. 2, behavior plans and targeted interventions that teach replacement skills. And 3, restorative practices that require a student to acknowledge harm, take responsibility, and repair harm when appropriate. I'm a little hesitant on 3 because I don't know if it's a little redundant, like if it's kind of already been addressed, but I wanted to include it just in case, again, because we are trying to give a little bit more power back to teachers in the classroom, that they can, get the management back with their classrooms, the expectations back for their students. Students have clear, targeted, planned ways that's clear to them, so that their engagement in the classroom is, they meet the expectations, and the teachers get to lead their classrooms in a more productive way. And it becomes kind of a win-win situation. So that's where I was just trying to address expanding accountability practices a little bit more.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So it would be B, and then B would say instead of practices, that's the way it's listed right now, may include, it would say accountability practices, and then it would list those 3.
So again, that would require a change to LRBI, a change to our 100, or where our definitions are, and then a change here, which is why this is brought back here, because we were trying to align with what we already changed last month
And 100.
in 100.
Yeah, and we did check on the definition already in the LRBI manual when we changed it 100. It's just needing to be changed here because these two need to correspond, but in the manual, it doesn't give the definition as exactness, but it gives it as in broader terms. Does that make sense? It incorporates those. So there's no need to bring the LRBI back because we're making this change, or if we made another change. But to Leanne's point, this did come before the body last month. The change was made. The reason why it's here is because we updated the definition. So we're just putting that out on the table, right? So, because we've already updated the definition, then we updated the manual, the rule 609 with the definition we had. Then we changed the definition last month, and why it's back in the body is so we can align with the definition in 100.
Okay.
So which is fine. If we change this, then we would have to bring 100 back and change 100.
Okay.
So
So my question is there anything that's listed there that isn't already in the LRBI? Because our teachers are not going to go to the role.
Are you asking in this the first action with the classroom management or the second? With
we're on the second right now.
Right now,
Yeah.
yeah, on the accounting, where you said it was more broadly addressed in the LRBI. If it's already there, that's where our teachers are going. That's where they're being trained from. So if it's there, I wouldn't see the need to change it here.
So the definition or the wording, I guess, in the LRBI for accountability practices says any evidence-based practice, excuse me, any evidence-based practice that increases academic outcomes as well as decreases behavior that disrupts the learning environment and holds students accountable for their actions by requiring them to take responsibility to repair harm and provide restitution when appropriate.
And that's from the LRBI manual.
Directly from the LRBI, yes.
So tell me where B comes from, and is that as it's written out here in our new draft? Because that's pulled right. The definition you just gave 1A is from the LRBI. Is B
Is the wording of B directly in the LRBI? Is that what you're asking?
on the new draft that we're looking at, draft 130 through 30, lines 30 through 32, not what I've done.
I can respond if you like.
Yes, go ahead.
Leah Voorhees, Deputy Superintendent. So that wording comes from the discussion in full board meeting. And it was Board Member Bogus that made the motion to change that wording, that changed the definition in 100. That it is the reason that we're bringing 609 forward now.
Okay.
So that's where that came from. So the LRBI was already done. And then Board Member Bogus made the motion to change the definition of accountability practices. And that's where that came from. But Cheryl Earl and I went back and cross-referenced the current LRBI with the change that all of you approved in board meeting for our 277-100. Last month, we cross-referenced and they would still work because the definition that Chris Ann just read is broad enough that it could cover the
100.
motion that was approved in board meeting last month. Does that?
Are you saying that B is the work that you and
No,
That's from 100 that Board Member August made the motion last month. This is what we approved. What we did was then say, okay, do we have to pull the LRBI manual back up and adjust the definition? Because we didn't give it per se, this is the exact definition, but we gave just what was read, right? A little broader view. It incorporates the very things that we have in definition. So that we didn't have to bring the LRBI manual back and change it as well as 609. But we have changed 609 because it no longer references what was passed in board meeting.
okay.
With 100. Does that make sense? So do you feel like what's referenced in the LRBI manual does incorporate, I almost feel like it does hit the mark when it's maybe not the exact language, and maybe Chris Ann, would you mind reading it one more time?
Of course.
Does it hit does it hit those marks that you're looking for at Board Member Green? That's the question.
So I'll reread the wording. It says accountability practices are any evidence-based practice that increases academic outcomes as well as decreases behavior that disrupts the learning environment and holds students accountable for their actions by requiring them to take responsibility to repair harm and provide restitution when appropriate.
What do you think?
I think I might be a couple months too late, but what so what could we do? Can you help me?
Well, we have some options. We can say there's enough in the LRBI and that the motion that was passed last month is sufficient. Or we can make changes to it today. If we did that, this would come before the full board. If it passes there, we would need to go back and bring 100 back and then align it with whatever we passed today.
Mhm.
That's what I see as the options. So if we go too far on the definition, though, we would probably need to, if it's greatly altered, then we would need to bring the LRBI manual back and then adjust it as well. I still feel like we're okay the way it's listed?
So 3 was almost exactly the same.
Yeah, as what you had.
Yeah.
Two was in there. Where does it talk about instructional strategies in the LRBI? Not necessarily related to that definition, but
It says, yeah, it says evidence-based practice that increases academic outcomes would incorporate that instructional strategies. And I do want to say, like, this specific section of the LRBI, like there's a longer section that addresses accountability practices. And I feel like in that section, all of these are addressed. It may not be in this specific
that's what I was at.
sentence that I just read, but the whole section is a page and a half, 2 pages, 3 pages, something like that. And I feel like all of these are covered within that section.
And isn't there, if I just, because I looked at that for quite a while, for several months, but there were under the instructional strategies addressing those routines and staying on right? Those were listed out. These are best practice. These are things to do. And in other words, the preventative piece is greater than the having to correct behavior on the back end. If you can set an environment or a setting, is that a little bit where you're headed with that?
Like, and if we're on the accountability practices,
Yeah.
1 and 2 are definitely the ones that I'm most passionate
You're
about.
most concerned about.
Yes, because what we see is just we've tried to address the inactive student participation with the phone, putting the phones away.
Mhm.
So this is a real struggle for teachers. And if we can trigger that conversation, make it more formal, put more effort back in towards those strategies that help increase active student participation.
Mhm.
It's for me, if we're addressing it with a bill that gets rid of cell phones, that means there's a problem still, and we need to come up behind and like build up what is going to be a deficit now in their classrooms, because the phones have filled inactive participation.
Yeah.
There's a void there. And I can only imagine for teachers, I know that they're capable, but again, but if there's a way that we can target our efforts to help assist, that was kind of my goal.
Yeah, Emily, do you think so that if we're still researching it, but if you look back at your E and your F, like those things that you added in the top piece, do you feel like those, if we were to add those in, those address that under that area?
And I do have the definition
Oh,
of
okay.
classroom management, if that helps with this. I was just going to say, I feel like that both of these overlap quite a bit, and I'll read this, and then I have some information about the additional chapter. But the term classroom management means the use of planned strategies that establish an organized and successful learning environment, promote academic excellence, teach social and behavioral skills to all students, and prevent the pattern of behavior that interferes substantially with the instruction of other students in the classroom. And I feel like if it's helpful, I can also send these definitions so that they can be viewed up on the screen. I know it's hard to.
Well, so it's the exact same
Well,
as what we have in.
It's similar. It's
Pretty
sounds
close. Yeah.
almost using the emoji.
So we would have
The
to,
BSE skills is a little different.
we will have to bring back the LRBI if we add these additional items.
So
Is
we,
that presented as a definition, Kristen?
no.
So it's not in
It says the
quotes.
term it says the term classroom management in quotes
So it is.
means the,
Yeah, you would have to bring it back in.
We did with the BSE, the behavior, social, and emotional skills. That was a term that was purposefully changed in the LRBI to social and behavioral skills.
So we might want to update that so it's reflective of what we have in the LRBI.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously up to the board, up to
Yeah.
the committee, but just to point out that difference was purposefully made.
But is
to me.
BSE that pedagogical term that teachers are aware of? It's like, did
That-
you change something deliberately and take away something that teachers knew? Because we kind of are doing that.
Not necessarily. The term, the BSE, the behavioral, social, and emotional, that came from pbis.org. And I feel like that teachers would understand, like teaching social and behavioral skills, it's not that different from behavioral, social, and emotional skills. I feel like they're close enough that we're not hurting or we're taking anything away from the educators. And then with that, in chapter 4 of the LRBI, chapter 4 is the chapter that focuses on classroom management and instructional strategies. And so I feel like there's not maybe one sentence that has all of this in it, but in chapter 4, it covers all of these strategies that are trying to increase student participation, improve overall behavior, reduce off-task behavior. All of that is covered through chapter 4. Again, there's maybe not a sentence or a paragraph that addresses it, but it's a chapter that covers a lot of that.
So I'm just thinking of a few things. We can just, decide what to do here. We can keep this one on hold for just a few minutes, go through maybe other agenda items until about 10:30, take about maybe a 10 or 15-minute break, and maybe, if you don't mind, maybe some staff members going through some of those sections with Board Member Green, show what's there, and then we can circle back to this and decide how we want to proceed, or we can just proceed, a motion can be made and we can proceed now.
Can we do that, please?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
okay, so
there are just the two
you want to make sure they're there somewhere.
that I'm interested in.
Okay.
And it's
I feel
those,
like it
that
could
2
be
and 3, right? So that we can pull it up for you.
1 and 2 on that one.
Oh, they're 1 and 2.
then-
Okay.
So yes, if we can.
So I think we'll set this one aside. When we take a break, we'll take a little longer break so that staff can maybe go through those. And you're wanting to make sure 1 and 2 are in that document for sure. Is that what I'm understanding? You
Yeah,
want to see where they're at, what it looks like?
yeah. And I
Okay.
appreciate the conversation. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so we're gonna, is that okay?
And I'll just pop across and you can come find me during break.
Okay, we'll see.
Thank you.
We'll see till maybe 10:30, 10:45, and then at that point, we'll see if we can take a break there for 15 minutes and then proceed. So,
you.
thank you. All right, let's go to action item 3.3, action R277709, education program serving youth in care. Good morning. Yeah, Benji, if you just want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Benji Carrier, Coordinator with Youth and Care.
Okay, and are you talking good?
Jennifer Wadsworth, Policy
Okay.
Advisor. So 709, our Youth and Care team identified some areas that are outdated that needed to be updated to reflect the practices they're currently doing. There's also some language in there that needed to be changed and a couple of grammatical errors. So pretty simple, but Benji's here for any and all questions. And
Okay, board members. I don't have any listed personally. Does anyone else have any questions they want answered there?
Mine was just reading through code, and it's just a general question, the funding for youth and care students with LEAs. Can you please give us just a quick understanding of that, and
Sure.
if every school district has that and what that kind of looks like?
So you want to know like where the funding comes from and how it's just like dispersed throughout the state?
Yeah, and because I was reading about how that goes, there's a way that is established in an LEA.
So the legislature earmarks out or carves out funding specifically for YIC because when the students are in a JJYS then that school district doesn't receive a WPU for those students because they move regularly, and obviously school districts don't have any control over when like a detention facility or prison or whatnot gets placed in their school districts. So they're essentially held harmless financially for providing the educational services to students that are there. So that funding, so it's about $30 million that is carved out for us to distribute statewide. So we have facilities from Logan to St. George, Landing, and everywhere in between.
One,
What's that?
because I worked at one.
Oh, did you? Talk later about that. So we have 26, currently we have 26 school districts that we directly support financially. And so they apply for funds through a grant. And then there are 2 priorities in statute. The first priority is for the students that are residential in these facilities. So they stay there continuously. And then part 2 is for any student that falls under the Department of Health and Human Services that is mainstream in school and the schools are receiving a WPU for them, but could still benefit for some additional services because of their level of risk. And so we primarily support that through funding check and connect mentors across the state. So students receive a mentor when they return back into schools. That also serves for our foster care students as well. So typically when a student is taken from the home and placed either with a foster family or next of kin or whatever, it's common that then that makes their school different as well because they're located somewhere else. And so we have assigned a mentor to them to try to just support their support that they need in a new school environment, learning environment.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So we have that new program where, and I'm not sure if it's LEA driven or school driven, where they can stay and get access to GED credits.
Mhm.
Do the YAC kids have that opportunity, or is it very much separation?
Yeah, they have access to that. It's not something that's widely used for students that are residential. I mean, the one gift that we have with that is the gift of time that we can really support kids educationally and get them back on track. Often, prior to incarceration, school is not something that's super active in their lives, and so they're often pretty far behind. But then because we have we have 100% attendance in our facilities.
So lines 43 and 44 that make available courses offering that include access to all classes required for graduation or a GED. That significant language that says, if our LEA was using this, because it's a pretty new program.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
only been what?
Like
Not even a year, right? So
Probably, yeah.
as that moved forward, they would still have access to that.
They would, yeah. Like I said, I don't know how often that would actually be utilized because they're able to get direct instruction from licensed teachers and
So they probably wouldn't need it as much.
they probably don't, but we do want to make sure that if it's available to other students, it is still available to them. So GED services and is still something that can be accessed and utilized if there is a reason for it. I don't know how often that would happen, but I'm glad that it's available if there's a need.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm looking for a motion then. So that's,
Did we
Yeah.
look at that? Okay,
Yeah.
I move that the committee approve R277709, education program serving youth in care draft 1 on first reading and forward to the board for approval on second and final reading.
okay, the motion before the committee is that the committee, any discussion of that? Okay, any additional discussion? Okay. The motion before the committee is that the committee approves R277709 education program serving youth in care draft 1 on first reading and forward to the board for approval on second and final reading. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you. And we'll go to 3.4. This is the CTE course standards approval. We approved most of our courses last month. We have 3 provisions in here. We have a business leadership 1, retailing 1, and artificial intelligence standards. And I have some specialists here to help us. Hey.
Is there like a holding room up?
There is.
Oh my gosh.
Who's going through the next
I'm done.
door?
All the food is if you get.
There's. Let's go ahead and, yeah, do you want to share where we're at on these? And then, I think there were a couple of suggested motions. We'll go from there.
Talia Longhurst, Director of Career and Technical Education. Thanks for having us back again today. We have 2 courses. The Business Leadership 1, we tried to work on last month, but we realized we had put in the incorrect standards. So we brought back the corrected standards for you. Also, retailing we had that one last month, but we decided as long as we were coming back, we wanted to make some last minute changes to those standards because of a bill that was passed last session that has to do with additives, food additives in school. And in the retailing course, often that directly ties to the school stores. And we wanted to make sure that was explicit in the standards. And so we wanted to take this moment to make that addition. And then finally, you all asked us to come up with some language for responsible use of artificial intelligence that we could plug into course standards where AI is being used and referenced. And so we have those three things for your discussion today.
Okay. And Board Member Green, did you have, let's start with Business Leadership 1. I had a couple questions, but I'll go ahead and on the ones that you had. Did you have any from that one? I can't remember.
I do. I just have one.
Okay.
And this is business leadership, the strand 4, standard 2. Just get there. Okay. So this one is students will use effective techniques when communicating with employees or organization members through various communication channels. And it has 3 bullet points: email, social media, post, public relations. So upon study, there's like 30 different ways, which I understand why we took it down to 3. In lieu of 30, I wanted to expand that out unless like you wanted to clarify why it was just the 3 first.
We are very open to expanding the list if you'd
Okay.
like to,
Okay.
but not 30.
No. That's not gonna work. So this is what I've come up with. I would like to expand on that, and I don't know if it becomes a 4th bullet point, but it would read direct and digital communication methods, including phone, text, messaging platforms, video conferencing, and in-person communication.
One more time, the list including. Thank you.
There we go.
Oh, yep. I didn't get this one ahead of time. Including phone, text.
And then that way it addresses all the different video conferencings that are available in all their forms and shapes and processes.
Mm.
Then we have developing that in-person communication, the handshakes, eye contact, listening skills, all of that. Then we've got our text messaging platforms, which is, Facebook, whatever, LinkedIn, whatever you want to use there. And again, it starts out obviously with direct and digital communication. So I just felt like it would sum up 30+ ways.
You bet. Let me introduce Rachel Rao. Rachel is our business marketing, finance, education specialist. Rachel, my question to you would be, do you prefer that these come individually in the bulleted list, or would you prefer to change the text underneath standard 2?
Well, I mean, I think if we're gonna say direct and digital communications, the 3 bullets that are there fall under those.
Right, so we
So
remove
let's
those.
move that title above all of it and maybe make them all bullets underneath. So direct and digital, and then add email, social media, public relations, phone, text, messaging platforms, video conferencing, in person
As the bullets.
Yeah.
Okay. Would that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's gonna be more like this: direct and digital communication methods, and then.
So Rachel, tell me if this works for you, but we would change the text to read something to the effect of students will use effective techniques when communicating with employees or organizations through direct and digital communication methods.
Yes.
Bullet points.
I like that.
Okay, through direct and digital communication methods, and then the bullet points are, so I'm getting rid of.
As they read, do you want to keep those, or are those included, Rachel? The email, social media.
Let's include them just for the writing.
So then we would add beneath it, Leah, phone, text, messaging platforms, video conferencing, in-person communications.
Okay, so these are sub
Somebody?
bullets, right?
Yes. Well, yeah,
Additional.
bullets.
I can only see one thing at a time. So in the standards that you currently have, do your other bulleted lists have commas and then a period, or are they just?
They're both.
Just a bullet.
They're just
list.
Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of the punctuation then. Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Is that the way?
We dropped off email.
Include.
Oh, did email get left off?
Public relations too.
Public relations.
So phone, text, messaging platforms is there, video conferencing is there, in-person communication, email, social media posts needs to be added, and public relations. So we're missing social media posts.
I think you just say social media. I wouldn't say posts.
Yeah.
I mean, the more specific we get, then it like, if you know, if you're teaching us in some ways, I mean, I think this is great. And I like Member Green's ideas here to add them. But the minimalist in me just wants to say through direct and digital communication methods and not say much more because I don't like getting into and I think that the technologies are changing so often that video conferencing is like, you know, like all the different ways that we communicate. Like, I don't know, 3 years ago, no one was using Teams, right? So like now we're all just like, that's our life is in Teams now. And so I tend to lean more just leaving it more broad through direct and communication methods, but I'm fine with these changes too if we adding all these as well.
We add including after methods. So it's not, doesn't imply that it's just those.
Like that? Is that what you want?
Yes, thank you.
I love the addition of the video conferencing because I think we have to teach some good skills. Like have your pets running through.
There's etiquette for every platform. And I don't know if we want to include handwritten notes. Like I only say this too because we were at National FFA and part of the employment skills competition was a handwritten thank you note. And the main director of that was like, it is a lost art, but it is so important still, you know. So I don't know. Do we do that, you guys? Handwritten. I didn't know how to summarize that because I'm like, oh, that's all technology. But there is still that need for like, you know, handwritten thank you notes or I don't know.
I don't see any problem with it. I don't think it's,
And that's just a nod to
yeah, just put.
conversation that is from National FFA. So I'm like, if we're having it at that level, thank you. We'll just throw it in there.
So do you want it to read written communication?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
So you don't want the hand
Just written. No,
or you do want the hand?
no, handwritten.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it is a part of rubrics in competition, so I guess it's still a very relevant trade. Anyway, that's all I have for that one.
Okay, let me, let's go ahead and read it out. So the amendment is, to amend. This is Business Leadership 1. I'm trying to read it from a distance here. Board Member Green moved to amend Business Leadership 1, Strand 4, Standard 2 to read through direct and digital communication methods, including phone, text, email, public relations, messaging platforms, social media, video conferencing, handwritten communication, in-person communication. Okay. Any other comments on that? Okay.
Just Rachel may do differently, but I prefer to like alphabetize things. So you may see in draft
Oh,
that
okay.
this bullet list goes in a different order.
That's
my plan.
yeah, I think that's a structural thing, so that's fine. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that was unanimous. All right. I had, and I asked the question, I should have went to my Robert's rules instead of using AI. Can I just say that? I do have a question around one of the provisions that is listed under Strand 5, Standard 1, and that's on page 6. And it says the language, sorry. me go back to where is that? The language, it says safeguard those people absent from the meeting. And I put in the AI thing, I put, what is the importance of da, 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 and it didn't list this out. So I was like, oh, it's probably not there. But it is that we need to safeguard the members that are absent from the meeting. Can you tell me why we have the end of that? Why does that connect to that? So it says for different types of diversity, internal, external, organizational, and worldview. How does that connect to safeguard those people absent from the meeting?
I think it's Rachel Rao. I think it's so that if there's somebody who shares a different perspective that is missing, that they're going to be asked their perspective. So those who maybe aren't there in the meeting, but they have a different worldview or they have a different organizational responsibility are asked their opinion.
Okay.
That's how I understand it. But we can remove that piece and just leave safeguard, keep it more generic too.
I mean, I just wanted to make sure I understood how it correlated. Does that make sense?
Does that show up in Robert's rules?
Well, I'm looking in Robert, this is what it said in our book of Robert's rules. It just says of the majority. So this is the rights of the majority of the minority, especially strong minority, greater than 1/3, protecting the rights of the individual members, protecting the rights of absentees. That's what we're referring to, and of all of these together. So those are the rights that it's suggesting to protect. So I was trying to understand how the end of that correlated with
That
it's XIXLIX. So,
is that a page number?
yes.
For the Romans.
If you go backwards.
What is that again? XI. XI.
It's right before chapter 1, page 1.
Writing down right before.
Yeah. So
We can remove that.
yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if that adds complication trying to figure out what that means, but it definitely, and that's, I'm glad Leanne, she was like, actually, I can find this, Jenny. So I'm like, okay. So I went back and I'm like, yeah, you're right. So, but then I wanted to make sure it correlated. So my motion would be to strike for different types of diversity, internal, external, organizational, and worldview, because it really isn't, it's about anybody who's absent, right?
I would agree.
Not, yeah. Okay. So that would be my motion, is to strike that. And then the other is left there. So,
Okay.
okay. We'll make sure that's on the screen before we, so it'd be strike. You want me to read it again?
Yeah.
It's 4 different types of diversity. Internal,
Is it for FOR?
Yeah.
sorry, FOUR.
Types of diversity. Okay,
Which actually is.
I got it. The number.
Spelling errors.
Okay.
It does. It does have a UR.
Okay, got it. Yep.
Oh,
Diversity, internal diversity, organizational,
I'll rearrange and read.
characteristics, organizational, where individual
let me read again.
Yeah.
Internal,
worldview. So it is.
external, organizational, and worldview.
Oh, so we're leaving safeguard.
Yeah, oh yeah, I should say safeguard those people absent from the meeting. So anybody that's absent.
So you're just striking the 4.
Yeah.
So like that. So is that,
I-
Andrea, will you make the screen a little bit bigger? Please.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So it's just anybody that's missing is what it safeguards. Okay. All right. So the motion would be, or the amendment would be that the committee
moves to-
where am I at? We're at the top.
Right, you're right here.
The committee moves to strike 4 different types of diversity, internal, external, organizational, and worldview from, what was the, from strand 5, standard 1,
Standard. Oh, yes, you're right.
That one.
Yes.
standard 1, and it's business
Decision making.
1. Is
Business leadership.
business leadership 1. Sorry. Let's get this right. In business leadership 1. Yep. Okay, let me read it one more time since we had to go through and so the amendment is to strike 4 different types of diversity, internal, external, organizational, worldview from strand 5, standard 1 in the business leadership 1 course. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
No,
And there were 3 in 4, 1 opposed, board member Rill. And then my next one, and I just had a question on this one, if I can get an answer to this. I was trying to figure out, and it was because of the lineup, I think with the pages, I was trying to make sure I understood. So, strand 5, standard 2, so on page 6, I'm not gonna have to, sorry, give me just a minute to pull it up.
Business leadership.
Yes,
Page what?
6, it's on page 6. My apologies, I exited out after I edited that last one, so. I just wanted to understand what the use was here. So it has standard, it says define and discuss the steps for decision-making in order. And then it gives the 4 steps, right? Identify, generate, select, implement solutions is the 4th. And then it says decision-making. And then are these 4 types of group decision-making?
Yeah.
Like it could be consensus building, or it could be groupthink, peer pressure, or it could be influence. So someone that would teach these would say, like, for example, the peer pressure might not be the healthiest way of making a decision. Is that what I'm understanding? Okay.
Like,
Okay, that's what I wanted.
collaboration, I think is what they're
I want to make sure I understood how it was used and not saying these are the ways you should do it. No.
No,
Okay.
no, sorry.
No, please tell me how it's used because I wanted, yeah.
I appreciate your insight on this because it was pretty brief and not really clear. So I think I would suggest that we say to seek consensus through perspective and rationale sharing, and then avoid groupthink and peer pressure
Okay.
by allowing everyone a chance to voice their opinions, and avoid unfair influence by removing like favoritism, nepotism, those sort of things.
Okay. So what would you, how would you like to simplify that? I just wanted to make sure I understood why these were here and I couldn't tell.
To talk about those things. To
Okay.
talk about good and bad ways of group decision making.
Okay. So could we,
To think of.
And if
we could either do group decision making, positive and negative, right? Something like that, and then have these listed, or we can spell it out like you said. So does anyone have Emily, did you have a preference?
Well, I was just, first off, I think, can we do something other than a bullet point there? I know it's just a design issue. with
I
that-
agree.
with that, but I think making that not a bullet point would probably add even a better level of clarity there.
So we could move it over the same way that define and discuss the steps for decision making is. Once we finish the
Oh,
4
yeah.
steps,
Okay.
then let's just take the bullet out and move it back over. Mhm. So
Okay.
may I ask where the 3 A, B, and C came from? Like, is groupthink and peer pressure one of the 3 main ways that a group decision is avoided?
You should avoid that.
So these are things we want to avoid. Okay.
Right. So it probably needs a little more positive, negative kind of differentiation or a directive to the teacher to discuss both positive and negative.
So consensus building is a positive. Okay, so
Could we then just group decision making and articulate something there and then list these underneath? So we're not having to go through and try to articulate each of those. So maybe
Define and discuss the steps, group decision making, the benefits.
discuss the pros and cons of each type of these type of decision making, group decision making processes or something like that.
Sure.
Does that work?
So discuss the pros and cons of group decision making.
Yeah, and then leaving those there because they're, I mean,
What
quite
about
honestly,
different
sometimes even.
methods? If you put in different methods,
Oh. What do you think? Define and discuss the.
I don't know that I think of them as methods of group decision
Yeah.
making. They're just facets.
Situations that
parts
come up.
of it.
okay.
Well, maybe it's that. What if it's group decision making situations? Joanne, does that sound
Or styles, I don't know.
okay?
Common, it's common practices in group decision making
issues,
or
common
scenarios,
issues.
maybe, yeah.
dynamics.
Dynamics, that's.
How
Yeah.
about dynamics?
Dynamics is good.
Okay. So maybe group decision-making dynamics.
And we
Yeah,
could,
that's good.
or group decision-making strategies and influences. Strategies and in.
Styles also.
Or factors that influence group decision-making.
Okay, let's do that. I think I like that one better.
Discuss the factors that influence group decision.
Yeah.
For what are we talking about?
Where we have the bullet point that says group making, we're actually removing the bullet point, and then this description of group decision making would be underneath number 4. So we're retaining define and discuss the steps of
So
making, but we're altering group decision making.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be slow.
Okay.
Better.
Okay, so let me just read this and then, oh, yeah. Tell me if anybody feels strongly to alter anything else there. It says define and discuss the steps for decision-making in order.
Oh, wait.
Oh, that's the previous one. Sorry. Okay,
Yes.
I'll wait a second.
Yes.
And then this
And
is going
bullet,
here.
Oh, yeah, I see what I see.
Yeah. Then this is going away. And this is then becoming define and discuss.
It just discuss the factors,
So not define it.
discuss the factors that influence group decision making.
Okay. Okay, so this would be its own heading there, so to speak, or its own, I don't know what you want to call that. And it would be discuss the factors that influence group decision.
And then do you want us to build those out? Leah, I sent this language to you in Teams.
We need
Make it
to,
easier to copy.
we can. Do you think it would be helpful?
I think it could be helpful.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You know what? It probably would, because some others may think, oh, yeah, group. I don't know. Who would think group think is a good idea, but perhaps there are some.
Okay, Talia, is that going under
So
influence?
that will take the place of these consensus building group things. Yep, so it will change those.
Got it.
So those will become the new bullet.
Teams does weird things with colors, so we'll fix that. Doesn't need to be bold, so whatever. There we go. Okay.
So it's still those same bullet ideas, but just broadened out a
Yeah.
little bit, so it's easier to understand.
Emily, did you have a question?
I'm just processing.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. We feel like there needs to be additional that could be brought to the board too. I'm just,
Yeah, and I think, okay, so not one is positive. It seems that one, 2 builds on 1 and 3 builds on 2 and 1 kind of as laid out. So I'm wondering if it's not a 1, 2, 3. Maybe
Actually, yeah, I did have them as bullets.
maybe an
Leah, can we change 1, 2, 3 to the bullet list?
You wanna,
So that those that you just added should be in a bullet format.
wait, you didn't want a bullet?
they do want bullets.
Instead of one.
So it's not numbered
Oh,
like
yeah, no
one in a
worries.
hierarchy.
Oh, yeah,
of
no worries. Sure.
No, it's a
No, that's how I had it.
The other thing I'm wondering about is evaluate influence and evidence presented. So I don't know if, do you bring in the evidence when you have these types of discussions? It seems that bringing in information, evidence,
Isn't that rationale sharing?
I think it might be different. Rationale sharing could be perspective and opinions,
so
which is
I'm wondering
valuable.
if as a second bullet point, we would include evaluate influence and evidence presented.
Want it here?
I don't know if I'd use influence only because, are you putting it under unfair influence? I think it's a separate one.
Separate.
I think if I'm trying to understand what you're saying bringing in reason and rationale to be part of the decision-making process.
Yes.
So bringing in evidence or rationale.
And here is that, group decision is a negative thing. where like, and we're just listing out the negative parts of what can exist in a group decision. I'm wondering if we can build out positive strategies of.
So for me, especially in the to avoid bullets, but there also is the avoid it by doing these positive things. So avoid groupthink and peer pressure by making sure that you intentionally allow everyone to voice an opinion.
Okay.
Avoid this by doing this. That's how I read those.
So could we put the evidence in number one? Seek consensus through evidence, perspective, and rationale. So you have.
Yeah, I actually think it goes there because that's if you're providing a sound argument, right? You're providing the evidence for someone to consider, and that would lead to it doesn't always lead to consensus, but it leads to persuasion, right? Maybe
That work for you, Emily?
That's better.
okay. And if there's additional pieces to that, you can always we can bring it for the full board.
The in that 15-year-old, 16-year-old class when they are trying to practice this, somebody will have a great idea and shout it out, and then somebody will amen it, and then everybody who had a different idea will stay quiet.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what we're trying to get them to talk about when they're doing this idea of group decision making together. So
Yeah.
I even see that in my college classes. I'm like, guys, don't groupthink. If you have a different opinion, speak up. And they're like, oh.
Sometimes it'll be an emotional story, right? Someone can share a very emotional personal story, and it will sometimes prohibit people from saying, well, yes, but I've also, that's that evidence piece, a rationale piece. So do you feel like that's incorporated in there too? That okay.
But do we want anything after implement solution about looking and evaluating results? Because things are always changing. And part of business and leadership is that you're always looking at improving and as technology comes in and evolving. Or is that not necessary here?
We make that's a great recommendation, Member Brenton. I would say on after implement solution, review outcomes. Implement solution.
So in number 5.
Yes.
Is that I heard you say, is that okay?
Yeah.
Does that keep us within the
I think we're good.
okay? Are we feeling like
Can I make one more suggestion? So we were thinking upstairs before we came down.
Yeah.
One of your other questions was about business ethics.
Okay.
And so we had a suggestion if you want to go down that road.
Well, is it right?
It would
will
go
stay
right in
here?
the same.
Oh, yeah, please.
So you can do them separately if you prefer, or we can talk about it now.
Well, what would you like to do, Bonnie? Do you want to vote on this and then talk about the ethics piece?
Ethical conduct was actually one of my next things that I wanted to address. So.
Yep. So ensuring ethical business practices.
And I wanted to include that actually in the course description. And then I put, do we need to add this as a strand? So if that's.
Our proposal would be to add it right here as well.
Yeah.
So the one thing we want you to remember is this is one of a sequence of courses where ethics is taught in other courses. Certainly it would be appropriate to bring something in here. So we did have a proposal for you. Let me hurry and Teams that to Leah. So that you have it. Dang it.
This is 1, and we added it in 2 last time. So
right.
Okay.
And so this would put it here as well.
So we start that process.
But we don't want to take, a whole semester to talk about ethics, right? So we want it to be.
You can.
Well, so it would go, so how you have define and discuss, and then discuss the next line would be ensure ethical business practices. So it would go right there. Did you get it?
Okay.
So, so again, remembering that this is like number 1 course, they're going to get a little bit before and a lot more later in their sequencing. We wanted to have just some things for them to consider in ethics: following the law, ensuring transparency, and protecting from undue.
Anybody have any comments on that one? If not, we'll move them all together if that's okay at the body.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. So
you mean the person driving it has a comment? Okay.
Define and discuss has numbers after it.
Oh.
Discuss has bullets. Do you want numbers or bullets?
Bullets, please.
Bullets on all of these? Okay.
Except for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are in order.
Is there in?
Yeah.
Okay. You've got it.
Under 5.
I would like to include. I would argue with being ethical, it's also kind of a practice that you carry within your own character. So could we act with integrity, fairness, and accountability? And I'm open to maybe different words, but ethical business isn't just about following law. Sometimes laws aren't very good. But character is something that, if you are an ethical person and you're, say, a business owner, your practices as you grow your business will naturally, you will run your business ethically. And in doing so, just the stability of your own business is strengthened because of those everyday practices and how you engage in your business, which includes your customers, employees, and your business structure. So, if I may add a bullet point that would say, so here, probably the first one. Let's do the first one because I
After follow the law, before follow the law.
before follow the law.
Got it. Okay.
And you're going to say, let's say conduct or act with honesty, fairness, and accountability.
You want to take out integrity?
Honesty, fairness. I maybe not fairness. That one's odd. Put integrity.
So honesty, integrity, and accountability.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
And then we've got follow the law, ensure stakeholder transparency. Can you explain what that one is? What that one means, the third bullet?
So like if you have, if this is a corporation or an organization, like they may have stakeholders like a board of directors. So when you know that they're transparent with the board of directors, but they're also middle management, everybody, employees, all those stakeholders. So your customers, your consumers. So it's kind of just grouping anyone that should know, does know. So putting it in your website, publicly communicating any of your changes. That makes sense.
And I just want to ask, do we feel like a teacher reading that would understand that? I'm just wondering if something should come after transparency.
We could spell out the stakeholders if you'd prefer.
So would you put an example there?
I'm wondering if we need to clarify what transparency to what? So ensure stakeholder transparency.
I mean, it could be a really
ethical
long list.
business practices.
It could be policies, it could be changes to procedures, it could be a
Changing costs.
so many things like
Products.
yeah, I think
I think you're narrowing it when you start to define it, you narrow it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it could be recalls, it could be all sorts of practices.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't, if it's like with
So the way I would read
it.
We're on home alone.
In,
That song always reminds me of something.
or in, do you see what I mean?
Well, the way I read it now is we have ensure ethical business practices. And I read it, ensure stakeholder transparency to ethical business practices.
But it's all under a ethical decision-making strand.
Uh-huh.
So it's all related back to that decision-making moment. I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
So transparency in your ethical business decision-making.
So maybe it's transparency in your business decision making or something.
When they make a decision, they're transparent to anyone who should know what it is and why they're changing things.
So in business decision making, does that help to, Emily, does that make it?
Like it better.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that work for staff then? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other items while we're here under this particular section?
Well, okay. Well, I did want to add it just in the description. Are we just gonna?
Yeah.
Are
We can circle back. We can circle back up.
It's a really, really big motion, or do we want to?
No. Let's vote on this and then let's go up to the heading. So we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. especially if people are following in the public. Okay, so the motion before the committee is that we amend the language in Strand 5, Standard 2 to read. It doesn't start till, let's see, discuss the factors that influence group decision-making. And underneath there, we clarified this by saying, seek consensus through evidence, perspective, and rationale sharing. Avoid groupthink and peer pressure by allowing everyone a chance to voice opinions. The next one is avoid unfair influence by removing the practice of favoritism, nepotism, or other prejudicial. I'm not prejudicial. I'm like, after I said it, I was like, it's not. Said it in my mind, it's like it didn't sound right. Prejudicial practices. Ensure ethical business practices. This is a new heading. And underneath there, we would have act with honesty, integrity, and accountability, follow the law, ensure stakeholder transparency in business decision-making, protect your consumers and employees from undue harm.
And then we added a number 5 back up above under the group, the decision making.
Didn't read it, but
My apologies. We did add 5. I didn't mean to skip that. I just looked down and was like, we're good. Okay, and under the top section, define and discuss steps for decision-making in order, we added review outcomes. Okay.
Should we review or evaluate?
I like evaluate.
Let's do evaluate. I think that's deeper than just a review.
Because it's all in business, you evaluate and you respond, right? You retool.
Yeah.
Start process.
Start the process over again.
Yeah. Okay. So on that one, define and discuss the steps for decision-making in order. Number 5, we put evaluate outcomes. So, okay, all those in favor? Aye. That was unanimous. Okay, and then we'll go up to the heading if that's okay and see if we can work in that ethical piece.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
We spent a few minutes upstairs, so we've tried to put all these in for you.
Okay.
So back up under the course description. So I'm trying to figure out how to, let me just read it. So everything stays the same. This class teaches how to be an effective business leader. Concepts include origins of business leadership, organizational leadership, building and leading high-performance team, high-performing teams, effective leadership communication, business decision-making. Now insert ethical leadership practices and then end with and motivating them.
Okay, so we just need to insert
Ethical
leadership practices.
Perfect. Is that okay?
wait, where am I? Where am I?
The second to last little section
Or the
after business.
And so it would be before the and.
Yes. Yeah. Ethical leadership practices.
Ethical practices.
Okay, is there any discussion to this then, adding that into the heading?
Oh, I appreciate that.
Okay, the amendment then before the committee is that in Business Leadership 1, the course description, we add ethical leadership practices as part of the description. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. And did I have another one? I think that might have been it. Oh, the other one's in retailing. So I'm looking for a motion on Business Leadership 1.
I do have a quick question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
This is just kind of the layout. And it's a silly thing, but like page 6, for example, we have the bullet points here and then the next one here. Is there a way we could just
We'll fix all the formatting.
like the formatting?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And then on page 7, so it's standard 3.
Of business leadership.
Yes. Compare and contrast decision-making tools and processes. And then it's got a bullet point. Are those supposed to be lined up, or is that the individual decision-making strategies? And then you've got those bullet points underneath that. That's the pro and con list, T-chart, Gantt chart.
Oh, okay.
I'm just wondering if those are supposed to be, or if they are separate. The 3 under the 1 bullet point are together.
Some weird things happen when we convert to PDF
Okay.
sometimes.
Okay.
We'll look at all of those and make sure that they're formatted properly.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, looking for a motion on Business Leadership 1.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're doing
Okay.
good with it.
I move that the committee approve the CT course standards for business leadership 1 and send to the full board for approval
As amended.
as amended.
Very good. All right, so the motion before the committee is that the committee approve business leadership 1 as amended to move, let's see, the committee approved CTE course standards for business leadership 1 course as amended.
And send to the full board for approval.
Yeah, and send to the full board for approval. Thank you. I'm like, what's the end?
Sorry, we had them all three courses
I,
on and we're splitting them, so. that's
Yeah,
why
I think
we'll
I think we just better if we're making any amendments, then we can. Okay, so now we're in the second course, which is retailing 1.
We vote.
We need to vote.
Let's do a vote on that. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. That passes unanimously. My apologies. Thanks for keeping me on track. Okay, next course is the retailing. And I had one question in here, I think.
Yep, so it referred to a reference to a will rather than statute.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be, we've done our homework, that you are correct. It should be the code. So it is strand 6, standard 4.
Okay.
And I have that reference.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'll text it to, or teams it to you. So instead of HB 402 or whatever reference we had, it should read Utah Code 53G-9-255.
Oh, wait, hang on. 50,
And so Utah Code, we want it to say Utah Code.
okay, and this is coming at the end of a sentence, right? So
There's a couple of spots, but
okay, so Utah Code.
53G. Oh, so it's got to come up above too, Rachel.
I see it, yeah.
53G-9.
The House Bill 402.
Yeah.
53G
-9-205.
205. Why isn't that? Oh, my cursor moved. Sorry, hang on. 205.
G-9-205.2.
Okay, now
And there are other places that will fix that
okay.
route. So if you just,
what we're gonna do is replace.
Before.
To replace,
Yeah.
where is my cursor?
Curse my cursor.
There.
To replace
HB 402.
we'll make sure that it gets fixed all throughout.
402 throughout to Utah Code 53G-9-20 or
205.
205.2.
Okay,
And that goes into effect next school year, so it aligns perfectly with the rollout new standard.
okay.
Usually we do parentheses.
Yeah.
around the
How,
two.
how do you want to do it?
So the 2 should be a 205 parentheses 2.
Got it. Thank you. This is how AI told us to reference it, so thanks for fixing it. I know. right?
It's just to Leah clarification, so it's just throughout standard 4.
Yes, as far as I can see, but we'll do it.
I don't think it.
Okay,
In strand 6.
yep, got that.
Okay, any discussion to this? Okay, so the motion before the committee or the amendment to retailing 1 is to amend strand 6, standard 4 to replace House Bill 402 throughout with Utah Code 53G-9-205 parentheses 2 parentheses. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that passes unanimously. And any other discussion on this particular strand? Good. Okay, then I just need a motion to move this one forward.
Wait, the whole.
It would be retailing 1.
Okay, I do have.
Oh, yeah, go ahead then.
Question, and this is about. What? Okay.
Did you guys vote on
Did you vote on the last motion?
Yeah.
It was unanimous.
Oh, okay, sorry.
This is on strand 2, standard 1, about visual merchandising. So that one is like the communications. Has a really long list. I'm wondering, could you just explain I don't know how much you feel needs to go into merchandising. Because as you're designing your store, the visual appeal, the visual merchandise, making
Strand was this? Sorry.
This is strand 2, standard 1.
Mm.
So I do have some possible bullet points. I don't want to weigh it down too much, and I'm just retailing is a lot of that visual merchandising. I mean, there's like hot spots in the first 20 feet of entering a store. There's the checkout lines, there's all of that. There's, your bestsellers placed to eye level. There's color coding for holidays and events that trigger purchasing habits. Like there's anyway, so I guess I'm looking for some feedback on what maybe you guys have heard from this class and maybe what you know of how this part is specifically presented.
So this class is taught by teachers who either run a school store or don't. So those that don't have a lot more time to go more in depth, and those that are physically running a school store that's maybe needs more like practical application time to going into the store and actually running it. So we try to keep it kind of like without assuming that they have one to do things with. So I think that's why we kept it somewhat general and less detailed. Some also may do little small selling operations versus having a little storefront all the time. So it's not really the focus of this class completely, but it is, I agree, completely important in retailing. I'm happy to add things if you think that are important to make sure that any and all types of retailing need to have and talk about, but you were leaving it a little up to the teacher to decide how depth they wanted to go into this one.
So
Okay.
you're just considering, do we want to add more detail or are we okay with, is that what you're, okay,
Might have a couple, and maybe I'll just move those and we could just
okay.
talk about them if that's okay. I think one is so let's add strong focal points for displays and feature areas. That's one bullet point.
Under visual merchandising.
Under visual merchandising.
Displays and
Feature areas.
under,
The purpose of visual, it would be another bullet point there.
It would
Under the first one,
like
under visual
Up here,
merchandising.
yeah.
It'll be a bullet point under visual merchandising, and that second one, the purpose of visual merchandising is to attract, engage, and motivate the customer to make.
Focal point or focus points?
What does this say? Oh, focal point.
Focal point.
yes.
Is that how you?
Okay, then the next one, next bullet point underneath that. I'm sorry, I didn't email this. But the next one would be clean, uncluttered presentation with good spacing and consistent facing. And a third, there might be one more after this. Consistent signage with simple, readable messaging and accurate pricing. Okay, and I would say, again, I've got a long list, but if we just want to start there, the point of this is that a strong focal point for displays and feature items. Clean and uncluttered presentations is so important. Making sure, it's simple things like making sure all of your things are facing the right way. You can go to any grocery stores, you'll never see it the same again. And then consistent signage with simple, readable messaging and accurate pricing. not having things priced, your sales plummet. But if your pricing is there appropriately and the messaging is there, all of the verbiage, the signage is just as important as a product. So pairing those together and placing a little bit of emphasis on that, yes.
So is it simple, comma, readable messaging, comma, or
Yes.
readable and then message?
It's simple,
Readable
comma,
messaging.
readable. Yeah,
So-
Readable messaging, so take that comma
Yes.
after readable out.
That's one.
that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
And is it feature items or feature areas? Because you said it different.
Feature areas. is
Feature
what you said.
areas.
Okay, because you said
Yeah.
items the second time,
Oh,
so I
sorry.
was wondering.
Yeah, areas. Anyway. I want to go on, but I'll just keep it at that.
Okay.
And that is my motion.
Okay, and this is retail one, so that is good probably to limit it so it's not so overwhelming. Staff, does that feel like it's doable? Okay. It meets the criteria of okay. All right, so here's my reading here. Okay, strand 2, standard 1, under visual merchandising, adding 3 more bullet points. The first being strong focal point for displays and feature areas. The second being clean, uncluttered presentation with good spacing and consistent facing. 3 is consistent signage with simple, readable message and accurate pricing. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that passes unanimously. Are there any other items in retailing 1? Okay, I'm looking for a motion for retailing 1.
Make the motion.
Maybe, do we have it up on there? Yep, right there.
Okay. That the committee approved the CT course standards for retailing 1 as amended and sent to the whole committee.
Okay, the motion before the committee is that the committee approve the CTE course standards for retailing 1 as amended and send to the full board for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. That passes unanimously. And our last one is our AI, the artificial intelligence standards. And does someone want to speak to that?
I think I just would like some clarification on what this is for
Yeah.
broadly.
Yeah.
And
Well, so it was a request from the committee.
yeah,
That's from me.
Yep. So I don't know, remember what if you want to talk about your goal or do you want us
is
to
that
talk about
a bit more clear? Because I know that just how AI is integrated and utilized and whatever is just new for all of us. So what
Well,
was your
my
vision?
concern was, I think it was in media, where all of a sudden it just said, show how AI. And I was like, is there anywhere where we kind of do a little intro to AI before we just talk about copywriting? And so rather than adding something there, I stepped back from that motion and they said, well, we'll bring something that kind of could start kind of having a minimal discussion, but kind of set the stage anywhere the AI is mentioned in our CT standards.
Okay.
So
And so this
kind
is
of
Christina Yamada. She's our computer science specialist. She drafted this language and we can insert this with your approval in any of our standards that refer to the use of artificial intelligence as a responsible use kind of standard.
Okay.
my only question is, and it's bullet points, it's not numbered, but I would hope responsible would come first.
Can
Yeah.
That would
you
be
move that
Okay,
up?
so the ordering of it.
ordering, yeah. The
Do you need a
responsible,
motion for that? I don't think so. That's just a structural thing. It doesn't change. All right.
it doesn't change anything.
If you just, staff will make note of that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and read this out just so the community or the, audience, who's ever listening. So draft 1 would recommend artificial intelligence standard to be incorporated into any CTE course where AI is used to highlight the responsible use of AI. Responsible use of AI, which includes recognizing when to use AI and how AI contributed, to a product and communicating that clearly. How AI influences all work, including the evolving boundaries and tightening restrictions around intellectual property and copyright, the importance of transparency and documentation, both in their own use of AI tools and in verifying the authenticity of others' work. Okay, is there any recommendations, any additional thoughts on this for the committee?
I find it funny that AI is moving on the side of this.
It's questioning our work.
No.
Oh dear, someone used my name, right? Someone called my name. Okay, well, I'm looking for a motion then.
I'm thinking maybe one more,
Oh, yeah,
and 1, 2, 3. So so starting with responsible, then transparency and documentation, and then how it influences all work. So start from the bottom
And then you would like them listed as 1, 2, and 3 instead of the bullet
Yeah.
point.
yeah.
So weightedness, so to speak.
And when in this, as you move forward on this, you'll create kind of the standard package that will go through, right? Of curricula that will go with this, right? Like some type of, this is what we mean by responsible use, importance of transparency, or will this be up to each of the?
For me, like my business communications, there are strands that talk about using it directly. So I think this was
The
meant to be
overarching, like, make sure you cover all of this before you say,
Right.
you should use it in business communications. You should use it in what,
Okay.
you should use it in.
Do you have a suggestion on where?
I would
Meaning,
I
So
would
it's just
plug it in at the
right at the
beginning.
beginning, yeah, of
Yeah.
whenever they're going, whenever
Okay.
they're going to
Okay.
address AI
Yeah.
in their strands.
And we'll have all of our specialists look through their courses and plug
Yeah.
this in.
So my question is, because there's two things, like kind of the bias and the incorrect information. And will this be in the responsible use that, because it doesn't clearly say that, but those are my two biggest concerns, is just,
I have a strand that said that.
okay, it's the wrong information.
Yes.
I looked up the name of a famous person's children and they told me they were all dead the other day. And I was like, well, I just saw them speak, so I am quite aware that they're not dead.
Okay, add something if you'd like to the responsible use. I mean, that is responsible use, right? Understanding that what you see may not be true,
Yeah,
right? But it's your responsibility to verify that that is truth.
so yeah, so
We can add
recognize
it if-
when to use AI, how AI has contributed to a product. So maybe after the when to use, inserting accuracy of information and how AI has contributed to a product. Does that work?
Determining accuracy.
Determining accuracy.
Is that good? Because that would include real factual information and bias. Is that all?
So which includes recognizing when to use AI, comma, determining accuracy of information, comma, how AI has contributed to a product, comma, and communicating that clearly, period.
Yeah,
That
that.
work.
Okay. So it was added to the importance of transparency and documentation. Is that where that part, sorry, where was that? part?
Number one,
Oh, and number 1.
yeah, in the responsible use, determining accuracy of information.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to scan looking for it real quick.
That I just added.
Okay. Okay, so the recommended amendment is to add under the responsible use of AI, it would say, which includes recognizing when to use AI. We added determining accuracy of information and then completing it with accuracy of information. Probably need to take that and out of there, right? Oh, comment how AI has contributed to a product and communicating that clearly. Is that correct? Okay. All right, so that's the amendment. We're adding determining accuracy of information to this strand. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. I think I'm looking for a motion unless anybody has another suggestion.
I will do that.
Okay,
I move that the committee approve the CTA core standards for artificial intelligence draft 1 is amended and sent to the full board for approval.
okay, so the motion before the committee is that the committee approve the CTE core standards for artificial intelligence draft 1 as amended and sent to the full board for approval. All those in favor?
I
Aye. All, any, Okay, any, okay, that was unanimously. So board member Rail held out there. All right. Responded. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to ask. Okay, let me just, I just want to set expectations here. We have R 277 419. This is our last action item, and then we will take a break. I was hoping to break for now, but we took a little bit of time here, and that's okay. So we'll do that, and then we'll take a break, and then following the break, we're gonna go do 3.7, 3.8, and then we'll end with the discussion piece, okay? So that our staff can report out.
Did you want Member Green to have a minute to meet with?
Yes, I'm sorry. We'll do the break and then we'll go to that action item. And then, yeah, thank you. Geez, set expectations here. We'll do, because we have one more action item and then we'll take that break. Then we'll finish up with our last action item. And
Okay.
then I think we'll do the two report outs and then the discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Just so we can kind of set expectations there.
That's great.
Okay. So do you want to go ahead and do,
Yeah.
we're on 3.5 action R 277 419, people accounting.
So Jennifer Wadsworth, Policy Advisor. Last month, you had a discussion as a committee about possible amendments to 419. We have suggested some, but we are wondering if you would like to move those forward or possibly table this rule based on the changes that we see coming in the next legislative session. So there is a very 99% chance you're going to have to bring this back.
I would like to table it.
Okay. And I just have a question because some of what we're asking for is clarification in today's. But we do know it's going to need to come back to, it will come back to us.
Come back. And the suggested amendments are not,
I'm just asking if they're critical.
yeah, good question. And I guess that's what I'm explaining.
It's just cleanup.
It's basically, we've added a definition that wouldn't affect any of the bills that are currently proposed and probably not any in the future as well, because they would also be bringing forward the same definition. It's a code definition.
Okay.
And then the other thing we suggested was possibly removing the 990 data, but a
Just no
lot of the bills are
relevant.
already suggesting data amendments that are similar to that. So
Okay. So Body, what would you like to do? I guess a motion was proposed, right?
Yeah, I would move that we table this until following the legislative session. So probably April, if you want a specific date.
Okay. All right.
Table till April Standards and Assessment Committee so we can incorporate any needed changes from legislation.
Okay. Is there further discussion to that motion? Okay. So the motion before the body is to table R 277 419 pupil accounting until the April standards and assessment meeting. Okay, so you want me to put, hang on.
yeah, let's
So should we put April or do you want me to just put after the legislative session, just in case any bills don't get? How long does it, sometimes the governor can wait 3 weeks, right? He has so many days. Should we, let's just say after the is it okay to say after the legislative session with the intent being April? If staff just realized that's where we're intending. Okay. Then we don't run into a time frame and we've committed ourselves to 2026.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Andrea, I can't see.
to answer the flag.
Sorry. I know. No way.
Okay, so
Is that
let's see.
what you want now?
After the 2026. Okay, so the motion before the committee is to table R 277 419 until after the 2026 legislative session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passed unanimously, and we're going to take about a 15-minute break. So.
Thanks, Benji.
Jerry, we're ready to start back up again.
Standby is on that one. Andrea,
Good to go.
we're ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, we are back for Standards and Assessment Committee meeting. And we are actually, Board Member Green still formulating some ideas here. So we're going to let her formulate those while we're getting some report outs. We are going to go to 3.7, which is an information item, P12 Mathematics Standards Revision Update. And let our math specialist just kind of update us on where we are. We'll let them come in. Oh, good. Hello.
It's right here.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Right. We're going to switch it up a little bit today, and I'm going to handle the update. I'm Melissa Garber, elementary math specialist. And the update is there's not many updates, but we have made quite a bit of progress since last month. We've completed the November 10th meeting with our writers and also several online just Zoom meetings where because teachers and their schedules, we wanted to make sure that it was a priority. So they met after hours as well. Many of the things that have been completed or will be by the end of next week are the secondary group looked at the extended standards for honors courses. And so they have added those back into the draft. They made some updates to the secondary 3 pathways and actually added an additional pathway. So we have the calculus, the data, science, and the math for all, and then a course that is still advanced, but would prepare students for a pre-calculus option so that they can still take that pathway. They also have put together a draft of an AGA model, so the algebra, geometry, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2 model for the board to consider when they get the draft. And then this is a draft in the linked resources, this document right here. It's still very much a draft. It's not something that's ready to go forward, but it just shows some guidance to this is something how it could be used for students, for parents, for counselors, for teachers to see what would the pathways look like and what is my intended end result. And so they updated visually what it looks like, what classes they would want to take, and what kind of majors would be best served by taking the different pathways. And then there's some Q&A options down below. That is available, and once the standards are complete, then we'll update that to reflect whatever is finalized. So our next steps, we will finish reviewing the public feedback. Next week, we have 2 meetings scheduled, and then the math team, after the writing committee is finished, we will meet together to polish it and clean up the documents. We plan to release to the board for their 30-day review. We're planning to release the document with all of the edits so that you can see visually what has been changed, because sometimes it's such a large document. We want the board members to be able to see what has been changed, but then we will also share a very clean version so that you can read that as well. And actually at the last committee meeting last month, we are looking at the template for our board members to be able to make suggested amendments. And so we have a document that hopefully will be easy to use so that you can copy the draft and then copy in any recommended amendments that you can see it. And each board member will have their own tab to be able to look at that. We expect that will be ready to be released not next Friday. but the following week, sometime the next week. So we are excited about that. And then that will move into step 10, which is the 30-day board review, and then into step 11 and 12. And that is our information item.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, we appreciate all the work. Thank you.
Yeah,
We're
thank
anxious.
you.
And we're gonna get, first of all, we're gonna work on
Excited.
civics all weekend.
There you go.
And then the math will, it's just doing board meetings, so. We do not want you to get bored. No. Thank you.
Over the
Very generous.
Yes, yes.
So,
Everyone wants to do math over.
thanks for the timing on that. That was, so it wasn't right at the 1st of December. I do appreciate that. So we had going into January, allowed that flexibility, and some of us have time off and that kind of thing. So, okay, thank you.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Okay, our next, yes, thank you. Next is our information item for 3.8, which is our Senate Bill 127 Early Literacy Outcomes Improvements Quarterly Update. And Julie Clark will be giving that to us, I believe. She comes. Come right up to the table.
Hello. How are you guys today?
Good.
Hey, I'm Julie Clark, P through 12 English Language Arts Coordinator with the Utah State Board of Education. Happy to be here today to give you an update on our SB 127 Early Literacy Outcomes Improvement Bill that was passed in the 2022 session. And you will be receiving your quarterly update on Monday. Kelsey said she had some other emails that needed to go out this week that were a little bit more pressing, so you'll get the official email on Monday. So she'll be sending that to you. But some things that we wanted to spotlight that have happened over the last quarter is one of our greatest things was we were able to have our Science of Reading Awards night at the end of October, honoring 65 educators who have received the Science of Reading Award from 2023 through the end of the last school year of 2025. And so it was a great night to spotlight them and let them know that their hard work is being seen and changing their instruction in the classroom. And then we also honored the 44 schools that had met the 70% of third grade students reading on grade level. So that was also nice to be able to honor them and help them feel special and help them feel recognized, and that we appreciate all the hard work that they are doing. Another thing I wanted to highlight, yes, I think there's a link on there for pictures that were taken that evening. So there are some great pictures that were shared. And I also wanted to spotlight that this will also be coming out in a report with more details, but 8 out of our 9 higher education institutes surpassed the 75% of their teacher candidates passing the Utah Foundations of Reading assessment for the last year. And so like I said, this report will be coming out soon that will have more specific data, but we are very grateful for our Science of Reading specialist, Sammy Willie, and all the hard work that she is doing with our educator prep Science of Reading faculty members to really beef up our educator prep programs in teaching our teacher candidates the Science of Reading. So when they come out into the classroom, they are prepared to be able to teach kids from day one. So we are super excited about that. And just great to see the 8 out of the 9, and not just in one education department. It was all of their programs for early childhood, special education, and elementary education were above the 75%. So it's amazing. That's the kind of changes we want to see so that our educators are coming into the field prepared to teach.
And systemic changes, right?
Yes, yeah. Yep, long-term changes are coming. We're very happy about that. Some other things that we want to spotlight and highlight is we did have a change in contract for our community engagement piece. We have shifted to a project that the contract is now with Kids Read Now, which is the same company that provides the books to home. So there is that connection there. Christine is overseeing the project, and so I'm going to let her share about things that are taking place with our new community engagement piece.
Thanks. Christine Elegante, K3 Literacy Specialist. So we had our kickoff meeting for that. The Kids Read Now community engagement portion of that. We invited anyone was invited. They didn't have to be Title I schools that were receiving the books. We had a great turnout. We had 130 participants, and that was about 70 of our LEAs were represented, which is much bigger than we had, you know.
Yeah. It was pretty limited, right?
Yeah, and
We have been working with 15
yeah.
schools.
Okay.
Not just
So-
LEAs, but just individual schools.
Yeah, we had the gamut from teachers, principals to LEA leaders. And we did in-person sessions and a virtual session. So we just caught everyone. So what's next in that project? They went away with goals. They made goals on how they're going to, you know, engage their community with literacy. A lot of them have events that they're planning. So we're really excited about that, but they had concrete like things and suggestions and that were given to them, and they made their plans, and they're going to go and work on those plans. But starting in January, there'll be monthly community and practice sessions, and these will be great opportunities. That was one of the things that they really enjoyed, was collaborating with each other. They're all doing similar things. And it was really nice to have them share, hey, at my school, this is what we're doing and it didn't work. Does anyone have a suggestion? So those are what the community and practice sessions are for. And then we are going to be having monthly parent caregiver sessions. Those are starting this month. And they're just 30-minute sessions for parents and caregivers, tips and tricks on how to engage your kids in this literacy effort. So really excited about that. And I'll have to say that the participants, that was one of the things they were extremely excited about. That was something that USBE was going to be able to offer. So we'll see how those go. So we've been sharing information on those. So yeah.
You have a question?
Yeah, so that was open up to anyone who wanted to attend, and that's and all those things. So
Yeah.
sounds like there's an appetite that somehow we were missing audiences with what was going on before.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited
So
about it.
we're excited to be able to extend the reach and contact and connect with more LEAs to be able to support them in their needs with that community game.
Yeah, and I'll just say this opportunity wasn't available through Kids Right Now. This is the first time they brought in someone who has that community engagement like specialty. That's what she does. And so she's been with them for about 18 months. And so this is something new component that they were able to provide, that in case you're wondering why we didn't do it before, it just wasn't a
New option.
it is a new option. So yeah.
So we're excited about that. And then our last thing that we wanted to share with you that we are very excited about coming up, we are happy to announce that we will be having 7 regional literacy nights that we will be hosting around the state. When you get your when you get the quarterly brief on Monday, you will also receive the flyer that has the dates and locations for those. And so we are going to be focusing on how to engage parents with their children at home to improve literacy. There will be sessions about oral language, how to build their oral language, and let's put down the phones. Let's talk to our kids. Let's engage with them. And how can we do that in a better way? We will have one on dialogic reading, and then understanding your students' Acadian scores. So after every benchmark period, parents do receive a thing that comes home, a paper that comes home that says, here's your scores. And sometimes parents don't know how to understand those or interpret those. So we're going to have a session on what those mean and what they can do with those scores, and how that can translate, and what can they look into, what they can do to help their students. And then also we're going to have one on reading comprehension. And so we do have, like I said, those dates will be coming around, but we will be doing one in San Juan, and then in Iron District. We'll have one in Box Elder, in Juab, in Cache, in Davis, and in Ogden. So we do have those set up and those dates. And so we're really excited to be able to travel the state, engage parents, and get them out to those nights. I shared the flyer with our state superintendents on Monday. So they have been made aware to start letting their communities know that these are going to be taking place. And then as we get closer to each event, we'll have a specific flyer that goes out that has more details for the parents on times and the sessions that will be taking place, and the community partners that will be there and engage with them. So we're super excited about those that are coming up. So
Good.
that's awesome. Yeah. Any questions?
Times on those yet?
Those will come in the newsletter.
So it is not on the one that has the most the flyer, because there are some that will be like a little bit separate, but we're looking at starting around 4:15 and going to about 7:30 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
So there'll be a wide range of time for parents to join and attend.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for all the work. We're excited to see the interest of the legislative session. It sounds like the reading element is going to get off to a great start. Lots of interesting discussions. So let us know how we can weigh in on the topics. I do know the paraprofessional piece. That's been a priority the board has. And we've seen schools that have implemented that already. I know one of my districts has been doing it for more than a decade.
Yeah.
And it's an adult helping teach reading in small group setting, right? And it's just phenomenal. So I'm glad we're leaning into that heavily.
Yeah, and I think the other thing when we think about these paraprofessionals is we need to make sure that they're trained and they know how to help do that. That's also a big lift and things that we need to make sure that we can get the proper training for them as well as they get in the classroom.
And that is very true. I know that I'm just saying this particular district does work hard to make sure that there is someone that is overseeing the paraprofessionals, and they go through several days of training and they have the support they need to support the teacher and the students. So yes.
Yeah.
Well, and there's others out there. We won't go through all the issues, but
There's a lot.
There's great discussion. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other items? Okay. All right.
Did Joanne have anything on?
Joanne.
I don't want to make
Board Member Brent.
Attending to her either.
Oh, what? No, you're fine.
Do you have any? Okay.
No, I
we're
think
just
this is
checking in on
great.
you.
The more we get our students reading, the better. I love to see the focus on literacy. Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you very much. We're going to go. You ready? Okay, we're going to make a stab at this. Board Member Green's been pondering lots of options and she's come up with one she's comfortable with.
We ran through just the logistics of all of this, and we pulled up the LRBI, we pulled up the definitions, we pulled up, what that could look like going in the body at this point. And I apologize, like, I'm just going to table this for now. I think there's another area that came up that I think would be beneficial, and we'll just maneuver through that approach. But what I did see is and I knew that this crossed a little bit. But for example, on the classroom management definition, as you put like those tiny pieces together as a whole puzzle, I do feel like there's levels that have been addressed. And I guess I just hope that that they can expand and realize that there are the resources available to help create, at their fingertips that they have. So I'm just going to table that. I do appreciate your time.
You're tabling your motion?
Yes, or withdrawing it.
Okay, withdrawing motion. So we're going to go back to.
Also motioning to table, making any action on this item until, do you have a time? She's wanting to table the entire action item.
So not change the definition in R277609.
Okay.
And basically want us to pause completely on 609, correct? Did I understand that correctly?
Or just pause on your motion.
You want to pause your motion or pause the entire action?
Oh, well, I want to withdraw my motion at this point.
Okay.
Do we need to address the other area that we talked about?
We can. So essentially, if you withdraw your motion, the action that's on the table is to move the 609 forward with the amendment that was proposed. So if your motion's withdrawn, then that would be the motions that way.
You wanted to make an additional.
And if you then wanted to make a motion to table this entire action item, we could do that.
I do not want to table this action item.
Okay.
Okay. Do we want to align the classroom management, the teaching behavioral and social skills with what's in LRBI? Okay, I think, is that what you were asking there?
Yes.
Okay, so what would it would then say teaching behavioral and social skills to all students?
Wait, what are we?
So it's on line 36.
Okay.
It would align it with what's in the LRBI.
Yes. 1 second. All the catching up.
Then we would be moving the rest of it forward, right? The way it is.
So line
That feels like,
36.
yeah, sorry, it feels like two different motions. So we've withdrawn Member Green's motion. But it sounds like Chair Earl's making a motion to remove BSE.
Mhm. It would, no, it'd be teaching, it would change it to teaching behavioral and social skills to all
So
students.
we're moving emotional and BSE.
Yes,
Got it.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Clarifying.
I just copied that.
Oh, did you get it? Thank you.
I copied it,
Say
but
Chair Earl.
yeah, so you can finish that.
Motion to
Get where that was taken out of.
the LRBI.
Yeah.
Remove. Keep, we're just removing and social. Okay. I think that's right. Let me know if that's right, Chair Earl.
Does that align with what's in there?
Because we're
Yeah.
we're leaving skills to all students, correct? Okay. Essentially, when we read it back, what it would say is teach behavioral, social skills.
Behavioral and social skills.
Behavioral and social skills to all students.
Is that the alignment?
You know what?
I
let's
think
say
what you
to-
want to say, Jen, is
to
to
read.
amend line, yeah,
36.
to amend line 36 to read.
Yep.
And then you can change it to whatever it is that you
Yep.
wanted it to read.
Okay. Let's just put it back in how you had it. With the cursors today.
It's wild to watch on screen.
I
feel like I have it right here and I'm just like, what is going on?
I'm out.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just watch the madness and let us do it. Behavioral and social skills to all students, the end. Oh, comma
I don't
and.
know if it matters, but in the LRBI, it's social and behavioral. Social comes first, but I don't know if that really matters.
If we're gonna fix it, let's fix it,
Yeah.
right? And behavioral. All right, how is that? We've got to figure out a way to get everybody's flags out of the way so we can see what we're doing.
No, I'll have to ask if there's a clip.
To
for that.
amend line 36 to read teach social and behavioral skills to all students. That's what we're doing. Okay.
Is there an and after?
It's comma and.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it keeps going.
Yep, keeps
Okay.
going.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not comma.
All right, discussion. Okay, so the amendment to 609 would be to remove. Okay,
Amend.
okay, to amend line 36 to read teach social and behavioral skills to all students and.
Yeah.
Then it would continue on from there.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor?
I
Aye. All those
Aye.
opposed? Okay, so that was unanimous. Okay, and I think we just need a motion to move this forward to the board.
You're comfortable.
Someone be. Person doing that. It's the first one on the
Yeah.
agenda. Okay.
Found it.
Oh, I already added that. Drew.
Okay.
yeah.
Make a motion that the committee approves R 277-609 standards for LEA discipline policy, draft 1 as amended on first reading and forward to the board for approval on second and final reading.
Okay, so the motion for the committee is that the committee approves R 277-609 standards for LEA discipline policy draft 1 as amended on first reading and forward to the board for approval on second and final reading. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that was unanimous. And thank you. Thank you for all staff. Thank you for your work today and Board Member Green for thoughtful engagement. So appreciate it. All right, and we have a few minutes, very few minutes to talk about standards revision, and we will just then continue it on in January. So
You again for your newsletters. I love those.
It's just come on.
that's right. We want to let Megan know we're ready for her. I think is that who's dragging this one? Okay. She was talking in the hall. I don't know. She probably thought we weren't going to get to it. We technically aren't. So. All right, we're just going to start the discussion. maybe what we can do, actually, we could do this. If anybody has maybe questions or thoughts, we can maybe create just a quick document that says, here's maybe some things we want to maybe look at or consider. Does that sound like a good direction to go, since we've only got about?
Yep, and I have a first one.
Okay, go for it.
I think we need to, as part of when we're reevaluating this, I think we need to extend the time period for revision. I think we review standards too frequently. I think it is a bit of a disservice, and I think it costs the state a lot of money to buy a curriculum every time we do
So you mean the time between?
Yep, that's what I mean.
Between math to math. Look at
Math to
it.
math, ELA to ELA, seed to seed, whatever. But yeah, I think we need to extend the time between, and partially because I think it's just confusing for educators. Like, in their first 5 years of teaching, they could have two different curriculum and two different set of standards. But then also because, again, when the board decides to amend the standards in a way that is way different, even the writing committee, if they do that, way different from what we're currently doing, that means we have to buy all new curriculum. All the LAs have to buy new curriculum. So that's my rationale behind wanting to extend the time.
Which this will be a good discussion for next month, because I do have some discussion pieces there. Anybody else have anything we want to just kind of make a list of things to consider?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, go ahead, Joanne.
Yes, I really love what Sarah said. I want to look at either extending the time or adjusting as needed rather than doing a complete overhaul. I have gotten feedback from quite a few superintendents echoing that sentiment. They would be on board with that. They don't want to be forced every 5 years to purchase new curriculum and have everything be changed.
So when you say as needed, I just want to clarify, you mean individual standards or full
Well, where
standards?
we look at like not having to do a full standards review every time, but if there's something that needs to be adjusted, that we have the ability to just do it on an as needed basis rather
We'll probably
than.
have to change that AI, CTE like probably in like 6 months.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one provision there. Are you, I should look at what you got up there. Do you have some, oh, you just have the process up there.
Yeah, Andrea's
taking the notes. Okay.
or she's driving and I've got some.
She's driving. I'm trying to think.
The other thing I was
go
going to
ahead.
say is I think like in reading, you sent over all those materials. One thing that I did notice with a lot of the reading is there is a lot of stakeholder input and a lot of time to give stakeholder input. And I think that is essential to the process.
So you want to make our 90 days 120 or something?
Maybe, I don't know, but I noticed that is like the one common theme, is that time for public input and stakeholder input.
Okay. Making sure there's adequate time.
Yeah.
Input. Okay.
For sure.
Well, and can I make one other comment? I want to ask, because we're a smaller market, and so when we so customize our standards, rather than looking at like what Texas or California, if we want to look at what some of the bigger markets are doing, then doesn't it open up the possibility for a lot more curriculum to be acceptable for our LEAs rather than being pigeonholed into just a few choices? Because if we're customized, we're a very small market. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I'm also, would you keep talking for a minute so I can make sure there's clarification on that? You mean,
well,
I mean,
like I love what
yeah.
I love what Texas is doing. They're a huge market. I like the direction they're going, and I feel like if we look at what some of these bigger states are doing, and also what is anyway, that I think we open up the possibility of more curriculums being acceptable for our LEAs to choose from.
Okay, so yeah, did you guys get some notes on that? General notes on that. That's good. Emily, did you have some that you wanted to contribute?
I'm probably the same feedback about not having it longer between revisions. I had like 6 superintendents ask for They're like, well, you're up there this spring.
Yeah.
We should talk about that. So I would,
So timeframes, right?
timeframes, yeah.
Those. Leanne, do you have any? Okay. I had just a couple that I wrote, timeframes was one of those I wrote down, and there's a couple of timeframes. One is between the revisions of standards, right? Math to math, but also let's go from 2 years to one. That's going to be really hard. So we're going to have to, that's going to put some work and some thought into it because there's some legislation out there that requires things that take 2 months before we even get started, right? So if there's a way to, you know,
What do you mean 2 years to one?
we now take 2.5 years to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
But haven't we as a board created some of that? Because we added a 30 days before, and
Yeah.
then we added 30 days after, so we added 2 months.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. So that's what we'll need to address is how do we adequately get that feedback in and still accomplish, right? So that's, I think it's going to be necessary to ask those questions.
Me to see what was it maybe 3 to 4 years ago versus what it is now. Like how much has our busyness as a board, I'm not saying that is a bad thing, but we are a busier board than once was. How much have we added to this time?
I mean, that's a fair consideration. The other thing with that though is previously it was we didn't give any feedback. We waited, and at the very end, and then we were told you couldn't really alter the feedback because the professionals and experts had spoken. So therefore you couldn't really give any feedback. So it really wasn't the board's work, right, in the end. So that is, but that's what I'm saying is let's look at how we can more concisely do that. So, anyways, and then there's different ways of putting writing committees together, right? Some of those we could look at and say is, and maybe ours is the right way to do it. There's some other options out there. That's one thing to take into consideration. Any others? Megan, do you have any feedback on the things you've looked at all that maybe?
No, I will say for the timeline piece in terms of just for awareness from like math to math, I think it was originally set as about a 7-year cycle to then open them. So if we look at math, the last time they had a revision, it went into effect in 2016. So it will be 10 years by the time they come around, just for awareness of kind of where we've been with that. And then with how long it would take to do the process, even if we were to take out some of the, I don't know, like the board review elements that have lengthened it. The big one is when we're reviewing, you know how big the math standards are from early ed through 12. So across 12 grade levels. In the current process, it lists anywhere from 6 to 14 months to accomplish that. In part because of how many standards that is.
Saying it could have been elementary and secondary?
Well,
or not really?
It could be, and we've done that. That's been done before. What some of the specialists have said is cautionary about that is then you end up with maybe something that isn't aligned all. Yeah, exactly. But just in thinking about like, could we condense that? Yes. Time of year matters. If we can get the writing together in the summer where they can dedicate whole days because these working professionals are part of that. So part of that's like an availability piece, all of those things.
Okay.
So they say they have done it in as quick as 6 or 7 months, but it can take, even just that writing part of it can take a significant amount of time.
In one of those groups of standards, we had the pandemic in between.
That probably didn't
lengthen by a considerable amount of time.
So yeah, just to, it's just something to consider. It's not a pro or con, just
and I threw in there a logic model. We don't even have to use that. I'm just like, I was trying to figure out some structure. Really, we should be focusing on our goal, which was to elevate student learning by establishing clear, concise, rigorous academic standards that elevate knowledge, skills, expectations, and students and educators, ensuring high quality learning and parental accessibility. So I kind of was thinking we ought to take our goal and then make sure we, kind of, how do we get there? So that's why I put in that logic model. But if there's a different model that someone thinks is more effective, or I don't know, some of you experts in here, the better way to kind of look at what we need first and then start looking at what we have and does that make sense? So we're actually hitting what is our goal and not let's everybody's preferences and then, oh yeah, we have a goal up here, but let's start with the goal and then take our preferences to
We could work on
articulate that.
With the logic model?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Megan's
that.
the queen.
Meg is the queen. Oh,
Do you like a logic model?
okay. So this might not even be the right one, but I would love, right? I'm just thinking, I thought, let's don't just be throwing whatever preferences we have. Let's be really intentional about it, right? That intentionality to get where we want to get. And it still may be as long a process. There's some things we'd have to change in code if we simplified some of those, but, and maybe they're the right processes. I'm not suggesting any of that, but anyway, so that would be a thought there.
Thank
Okay.
you,
I'm
Jenny.
looking
I
for-
love that logic model and I love your explanation with the situation. I think it's good to have the strategic mission and vision out in front.
Yeah, leading us. So, okay. Any other comments? Okay.
So what
Yeah.
would you like? Would you like us to
would-
bring back a logic model considering some of these comments that you've had and kind of go from there?
I think that would be a great plan, right? Or at least get us started, right? Some pieces to get us started. And then I think we'll just continue with discussion in January if that's okay. So, and then we'll, yep. You know, but it may take us a couple of months to keep discussion and then we'll have some, I think we'll eventually have some sound ideas to move forward to present to the board. Okay, is there anybody else? Any other contributions? I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Adjourn. Okay, motion to adjourn's been made. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Except we didn't hear Joanne, but
Hi, sorry, I didn't unmute. quick
you
enough.
know, good stuff. We're gonna miss you this afternoon, Joanne.
Yeah.
So-